Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host Khalid. Today is the 20th of August 2025. These are the stories that we'll try to understand during the course of the show and of course also inform you of the latest details. We'll begin with the 6th Trilateral Summit that was held in Kabul between the foreign ministers of China, the interim foreign minister of Afghanistan and our deputy prime minister and foreign minister. And of course many important details were discussed and avenues of collaboration and cooperation also highlighted. Of course the top of the agenda was counter-terrorism, and of course there were many others such as health, education, regional development, culture and combating drug trafficking, as well as extension of CPAC to Afghanistan. These are important avenues, important for Pakistan and important for China as well. We'll be highlighting different aspects of that in our first segment. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the monsoon devastation that has been caused in different parts of Pakistan, whether it be Gilgit-Baltistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab, Sindh. Many areas have been affected by the floods. The Prime Minister also went to Bunair and distributed food rations amongst the different affected people there, and our Chief of the Army Staff, Field Marshal Asim Munir, was also there. We'll be highlighting different aspects of what the government is doing, the NDMA is doing, the Army is doing, and the Pakistan Air Force is doing, as well as what needs to be done now under the current circumstances. Our third story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the Russia-Ukraine conflict. 3.5 years have passed since that. We all know that the US President met with both the Russian President Putin and then with Zelensky and the EU leaders. What's going to happen after that? Trump is pushing on a meeting between Putin and Zelensky. A lot of people are pinning their hopes on that, but a lot of people are also skeptical whether that would eventually happen or not. This will be our point of discussion in our third story. Our fourth story will concern the latest as far as the Gaza and the Middle East is concerned. Whether on the one hand, the ceasefire deal that is being mediated between Qatar and Egypt has been accepted by Hamas, but Israel has yet to accept it. Will Israel accept is a huge question whatsoever. On top of that, we all know that France in September, just in a few weeks' time, is going to formally accept the state of Palestine, and so will many other countries, including the United Kingdom, Portugal and many others. And this is irking Israel no end, and that is why there is a row that is developing between the French side and the Israeli side. This will be highlighted in our fourth story. Let's begin without further ado. Our first story has the trilateral meeting between Afghanistan, China and Pakistan as the owners, as the center of it, and we've been joined by two guests to discuss more on that. We've been joined in the studios by Khalid Taimur Akram Sahab. He's a foreign affairs expert. Thank you very much, Khalid Sahab, to have joined us. We'll begin with you, Khalid Sahab. Khalid Sahab, the sixth trilateral meeting happens between the foreign ministers of China, of Afghanistan and of Pakistan. They commit to strengthen joint efforts against terrorism. Let's begin with the joint efforts against terrorism. How important has counter-terrorism been for Pakistan in the wake of all that has been happening through the porous Afghan border into Pakistan? And how do you see the Afghan willingness to do the needful?
Yeah, thank you very much. As we know that Pakistan is now progressing towards this phase 2 of the CPAC, which is basically connecting Central Asia through Afghanistan with Pakistan, and then the trade will start not only for Central Asia but for Afghanistan also. And China is also very keen that this route should get completed and start, because already 12 years have passed since the inception of Belt and Road Initiative. So the main hurdle was and is still the porous borders of Afghanistan and the lack of Afghan government's attention towards counter-terrorism. So I think this is a very good initiative taken by China, that they're making Pakistan and Afghanistan sit together, because I feel that in last couple of years, ever since the new Afghan government, the Taliban government, they have come to power, they have developed lots of misunderstandings with Pakistan, despite of the fact that Pakistan is one country which has been standing with Afghans since last 50 years, whether it be Afghan war with the Soviets or Afghan Taliban government, the first Taliban government, and after that Ashraf Ghani and all those 20 years of the so-called democratic government in Afghanistan. And since last 4 years, Pakistan had been standing with them, Pakistan had been supporting them, but somehow the Afghan government was not able to control cross-border terrorism because of many factors. And one of the main factors is that the Kabul government is restricted to some areas of Afghanistan, and mainly the border areas are still controlled by various warlords who are not in fully control of the Kabul government. So with China sitting in between, because China also has lots of stakes in Afghanistan, because Chinese are doing a lot of construction work, infrastructure work in Afghanistan. They are doing a lot of mining. There are many mining companies in Afghanistan already working with the Afghan government. Chinese have also established a bus plant in China, in Afghanistan. You must have seen on the social media that the Afghans have started making buses in Afghanistan, and it's due to the Chinese help. So I think this is a very good initiative, but the point lies, the baseline is the Afghan government. They have to take action against this terrorist organization. They have to sit with their warlords, because we can't interfere in their personal matters. We can't interfere in their domestic politics. That has to be dealt by the Afghan government. And I think these meetings, because this is the 6th meeting which is being held, and these meetings are being held on a very, very short interval.
And we have the Chinese foreign minister also coming to Pakistan.
Yes, he's also coming to Pakistan. But the point is this, that these meetings and this thing can only be successful once the Afghan government makes it a resolve that they have to control not only the cross-border terrorism, but also they have to control the terrorist organization who are present on the Afghan soil.
I'd like to understand, Khalid Saab, but can all the three countries, that is Afghanistan, China and Pakistan, institute a trilateral counter-terrorism joint force? We've talked about that in the past as well, and the importance is paramount under the current circumstances. Can they also have a joint intelligence sharing mechanism in order to stop cross-border movement or militants that threat not only Pakistan but also China?
Yes, why not? But I would say one thing, that there is already a mechanism of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, RATS, the regional anti-terrorism structure. It is already there, because this terrorism is not only the problem for Pakistan, but terrorism is also problem for Tajikistan and for Uzbekistan also. And if this trilateral platform has to be created, then we must involve Tajikistan and Uzbekistan in it, because you know that right now there are more than 22 terrorist organizations operating in Afghanistan. Many of them have Tajik ethnic people also who are also there in this terrorist organization, and Uzbek ethnic people living in Afghanistan are also part of those organizations. So it's better that instead of creating a new setup, why not to work on the Shanghai Cooperation Organization network, RATS. The RATS has its headquarters in Tashkent, and they are over there. The intelligence sharing is already being done by all the stakeholders. So for Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, they can make a subcommittee under that platform, and that subcommittee can have more exchange of information, because these all countries are not only connected through each other, we have the borders with each other, but also we have the similar problems. We are facing the same kind of Tajikistan right now is facing the same kind of terror threats as Pakistan is. Uzbekistan is also facing the same kind of terror threats, and of course China is also very worried about all these things, because since the trade and the connectivity has to start, China has invested a lot of money in this region for development of the railway tracks, for development of the road tracks, and these landlocked countries, as we know them now as land-linked countries. So I think right now countering terrorism is of the paramount importance, but for that all the countries together, China and Pakistan in particular, we can share our expertise with the Afghan government. Pakistan is probably the only country in the world which has rooted out terrorism without any foreign boots on ground. There's no other country in the world which has hands-on experience on counter-terrorism as we have. And I think we can teach our Afghan brothers, we can help them in making the counter-terrorism structure. We can also revamp their intelligence agencies. But it all depends that how willing the Afghan government is. And first of all, again I would say the point which I had said before also, that the Afghan government needs to sit together with all the stakeholders internally within Afghanistan before talking to us or Chinese or any others or blaming us, because we have been seeing that lots of blames and counter blames coming from the Afghan side, but they are not realizing this thing, that Pakistan has always been in the forefront for countering terrorism. Terrorism is not flowing from Pakistan side towards Afghanistan side. Terrorism is basically flowing from Afghan side towards Pakistan side. So it means that it is the loopholes and I would say the grey holes are in their governance system, so they need to counter those grey holes and loopholes, and of course we are here to help them out.
All right, let's come to our second story. And for that story and or that segment, we will be talking about the latest as far as the monsoons are concerned and also Pakistan's response. The number of casualties keeps on increasing, and we've seen the devastation that has been caused in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gilgit-Baltistan and also Sindh. Khalid Sahab, I'd like to understand the role of the Pakistan Air Force as we've seen in Gilgit-Baltistan, the role of the army as we've seen in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and in other parts, and how they are working jointly with the governments of those provinces and also the federal government. How important is it to have this joint mechanism to help the people in need and to prevent as many casualties and destruction as possible?
Yeah, about military, I would say one thing, that since military is already present there in Gilgit-Baltistan, they're present in all parts of the country, so they don't have to move their equipment and machinery and manpower from one place to another. So in situ, wherever they are, they have already started helping the people in distress, whether it is Gilgit-Baltistan, in KP, even in Karachi. So the military is playing a very, very crucial role, because they already have that machinery which maybe the Gilgit-Baltistan government or the remote areas of KP they won't have. So I think the military's role, and especially the role of the Pakistan military's engineers, engineer corps, is very, very crucial in that, and they are already doing a lot of work. And of course, Air Force is playing their due role, because there are lots of places where the Russians and other first aid had to be sent through helicopters or through the plane. So Air Force is also playing their role. Similarly, in Karachi, the naval forces are playing a lot of role to help the people out. Over here, I would say one thing, that it is not a kind of that only the government can deal with it. It's a national disaster, and all the forces have to join hand. And there is already a very comprehensive policy made in NDMA, where in times of crisis everybody knows that what they have to do. This kind of flash flood mechanism was not there in Pakistan before. We had seen that due to the climate change effects, we had seen that in last couple of years it has increased, and this year I think we are seeing the maximum part of it. These flash flood phenomena is not only in Gilgit-Baltistan or in KP or in mountains, but it is in Karachi also. We have seen yesterday whatever has happened. So I think now the government and all the stakeholders have to sit together, and we have to now make a new policy that how to handle the new changes in the climate change scenario. And these kind of lessons, because these kinds of lessons we have to make immediate policies before the next year will have even more. Even after maybe after 2 years it will be more worse. So now we have to prepare for all the eventualities, and these kinds of flash flooding situation was not there in Pakistan before, but it is happening due to the global climate change effect.
Khalid Saab, when you look at strategizing what Pakistan needs to do in the future, we've seen the international support that pouring in. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres also says that he's ready to help Pakistan if so ever. But I'd like to understand, what should be Pakistan's strategy? Asking for help from the UN or COPS, or working on its own to develop mechanisms in order to sustain itself despite such disasters?
Yeah, first of all, we have seen about international community. I would just comment one thing, that 2-3 years back, once the floods had come, so international community had pledged a lot.
True.
But unfortunately none of those pledges were fulfilled. And I personally think that what Pakistan should be doing right now is calling upon for a regional climate change framework, because right now we do not have in our region any regional climate change framework, because the climate is not only for one country, because even India's climate, Pakistan's climate, Afghanistan climate, it is all complementing each other. And maybe now in next few days, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization head of the state summit being happening in China. So I think Pakistan should give out this point over there, and under the framework of SCO, a climate change framework can be established, because this climate change is not only affecting Pakistan only. We are seeing a lot of glacier melting happening towards the Tajik side also. Tajikistan is very much worried. In Uzbekistan, there's one RLC which is already dried up, and they're also facing a lot of climate change issues. Afghanistan is also going through the same issues, and similarly the other regional countries like Iran is also going through similar kind of issues. So what we need to do is that, one, at the international regional platform, we should establish a regional climate change framework. Two, we should be revamping and making all our climate change related policies again. And just yesterday I was reading some articles on social media in which somebody had put the 200 years back maps of these areas. They said that 200 years or 100 years back, the rivers were going the same way which they are going today in Bonaire, in that area. So it means that in last 100 and 150 years, there's lot of encroachment has happened.
True.
So we need to, our experts need to sit and they need to see the waterways which used to happen over there. So maybe we need, and also we need to devise very stringent policies on the construction sites. We need to empower the district governments and provincial governments in a way that a red line should be drawn, and the riverways and waterways can be controlled at the federal level also, where the federal government needs to first of all bifurcate the areas where the river can pass or has been passing, and that area should practically become a no-go area for any kind of construction, for any kind of resort making, for any kind of fun activity.
I agree. I'd like a quick answer to my next question, Khalid Saab. Putin questions Zelensky's legitimacy as far as these talks are concerned. It creates a major diplomatic barrier, but we know the EU states have also joined the fray. Do you feel that these Western leaders can bridge that legitimacy gap and move towards a concrete summit that could yield positive results?
Yes, that's quite interesting, because if you see the recent meeting of President Trump and the Ukrainian president, one of the questions which the Trump asked, which is going around making rounds in the social media, is why don't you have elections in your country? And he said it's because of the war we are not having any elections. And Trump jokingly says that, okay, after 3.5 years, if it means US is at war, we will also not have elections. So President Trump is mindful of this thing. And of course, President Trump has called all the major European unions, including the Finland, which shares one of the longest borders with Russia, to Washington, and they have been talking. And I see light at the end of the tunnel, because now I think all the European countries and even America, they're fed up of this war, because it is draining their money out. So they have not been able to move forward out of this war, and this war is going basically nowhere. And eventually they have realized this, that at the end of the day, this every day which is passing is going in favor of Russia.
All right.
So I think President Trump will have this meeting very soon, this trilateral meeting, and I personally think that maybe next to 15 days to 1 month, we may find some kind of agreement, with, of course, with the security guarantee of the United States.
That is very important. Security guarantee is a very, very important point there, and it's going to play an important role. Khalid Saab, I'll ask you the same question. Hamas says it's ready for the 60-day truce. Egypt and Qatar are mediating. Israel has not responded. Will Israel respond? Will it be in the positive?
No, we have seen Israel has not been responding to the truce call ever since the war has stopped. I personally feel that Israel will only listen to President Trump, and somehow we see that the US government is not putting the due pressure as they should. So nothing will move forward till that time the US government will not put pressure on Israel, and US government has to sit in any kind of talks which are going to happen either in Qatar or anywhere else.
And on top of that, there are so many other countries who next month are going to formally accept Palestine, the state of Palestine, and that is irking Israel. That calls France's acceptance as a fuel for anti-Semitism. They said more is happening, and Israel is not liking that one bit, but many countries are moving forward in that direction. Just to the end of the show, I'd like to thank my guests, Khalid Saab, thank you very much, Munir Saab, thank you very much, and Zahir Razi, thank you very much to have joined us. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow when new story segments are put into us. You in Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.